50 Cent is reportedly planning to fire back at Fabolous, Jim Jones, Dave East, and maybe even Mayo on Uncle Murda's 2025 wrap-up. Fans are buzzing about this because if it actually happens, it could be one of the loudest moments in hip-hop heading into 2026. There is a lot of speculation about how real this move is and whether 50 Cent is going to come in swinging immediately or if he is thinking strategically behind the scenes. The anticipation is building because the potential response could involve multiple targets, and that alone makes this situation very interesting. Some are even saying Uncle Murda might get involved, which would make the whole dynamic even more intense. At the core of this story is whether a full-length track or disc will actually come out. Tony Yayo's involvement is also being discussed by fans, but so far it's unclear how much of this will turn into an actual project. There's a lot of talk online that Fabolous handled things solo in his recent verses, and if that's true, 50 Cent stepping in could be a huge moment. But it's important to note that Fabolous's shots at 50 were not as strong as some people are making them out to be. His verse was solid, but it wasn't fully dedicated to targeting 50 Cent. It was not enough to demand a full, heated response in the eyes of many fans. Hip-hop fans are starving for another major showdown because the culture has felt slow lately. There have been moments of tension here and there, but nothing sustained enough to capture the energy fans want. The last big battle lasted nearly 2 years and left people invested in every move. That fight still echoes today, and fans are hungry for the next major clash. This is why speculation around Fabolous versus 50 Cent is gaining so much traction. Fans want a real back and forth, round after round, and even though the odds might not favor a huge response, the anticipation alone is keeping people glued. Looking at Fabolous's recent verses, they were good but not earth-shaking. He threw a few shots, but the overall freestyle lacked the intensity that fans remember from his prime. The Desert Storm days and early 2000s mixtape era were when Fabolous really showcased raw lyrical power. Comparing that to what he's doing now, it's clear he's not rapping with the same hunger. This is not unusual, as many artists change over time. Once an artist reaches a certain level of financial comfort and fame, the drive that fueled early success can shift. That doesn't mean the talent is gone, but the intensity of past battles is harder to recapture. Meanwhile, 50 Cent still commands attention because he controls the narrative in ways most artists cannot. His reach on social media, the clips he posts, memes, and moments he creates give him an enormous advantage. Even if someone challenges him verbally, 50 Cent's ability to respond strategically and publicly makes him a very tough opponent. The culture loves the idea of someone finally standing up to him, but anyone who takes a shot first has to understand that 50 Cent will respond on his own terms. He has always been precise in the way he handles public challenges. His responses are calculated, loud, and often viral, which keeps him in the center of conversations even when people expect him to be passive. The personal history behind 50 Cent's reactions cannot be ignored. There were moments in the past when people aligned with forces that nearly ended him physically and professionally. That kind of trauma affects how he approaches challenges today. Fans who judge him from the outside might see his responses as petty or aggressive, but there is a lot of context missing if they don't understand what he's endured. This perspective matters when analyzing why 50 Cent might respond to Fabolous or anyone else involved with previous conflicts. It's not about ego alone, it's about protecting his legacy and addressing perceived disrespect. In terms of skill and lyrical ability, Fabolous had one of the stronger verses on recent freestyles because he took direct shots at 50 Cent. That caught attention, while other verses from Jim Jones, Dave East, and Mayo were more measured. Jim Jones's growth as an artist is notable. He is rapping better now than he did years ago. Meanwhile, Dave East and Mayo Mayo's contributions did not carry the same weight, though Mayo did make a small impact by taking a subtle shot at 50. The balance of verses shows that while some artists are still sharp, the overall energy from past years is not fully present. Fans are also curious about the strategic side of this. Even if 50 Cent appears on Uncle Murda's 2025 wrap-up, it may not be a full attack. He might fire one verse to assert dominance and then move on strategically. This selective approach is consistent with how 50 Cent operates today. He doesn't waste energy on every small jab. Instead, he chooses his moments carefully to maximize impact. If he appears, the energy will be high, and the narrative will likely shift quickly. The community is also talking about potential appearances by other key players, like Lloyd Banks, but that reunion is very unlikely. Whatever happened between 50 Cent and Banks behind the scenes created a permanent rift, and there's no chance of a surprise collaboration in this scenario. It's important to keep that in mind when predicting how this story unfolds. Expectations need to be realistic, especially when considering past relationships and current dynamics. Another aspect to consider is the impact this could have on social media and fan engagement. 50 Cent has mastered using the internet to his advantage. He knows how to create moments that dominate conversation, from clips to memes to viral content. This gives him a bigger platform than almost anyone else involved in this potential clash. If he chooses to respond publicly, it will likely dominate headlines and social media feeds, regardless of the strength of Faboulous' verse. Fans have been pushing for a back and forth because they want to see old-school intensity return. The anticipation of seeing Fabolous step up to 50 Cent again is creating a lot of online chatter. However, it's important to note that nostalgia can distort perception. While fans remember Faboulous' prime as dominant, the current verses are different. Expecting the same energy from years ago may not be realistic. The landscape has changed, and so have the artists. Even though the past battles set a high bar, 50 Cent's ability to manage the narrative gives him a unique advantage. He doesn't need to respond to every challenge, but when he does, it makes a massive impact. That's part of why this potential involvement in Uncle Murda's 2025 wrap-up is so intriguing. Fans know that any move he makes will be calculated and highly visible. At the same time, this creates pressure for Fabolous and others. The community expects a response, and the social media hype can push artists into actions they might not have planned. The culture thrives on tension, anticipation, and the possibility of surprise. Even small jabs can create large conversations. That's why every freestyle, verse, and comment is being dissected closely. Now, looking closer at Fabolous, Jim Jones, and the rest, it's clear that each artist brings something different to the table. Fabolous has history, credibility, and the ability to drop clever lines that stick with fans. But his recent verse, while sharp, wasn't enough to dominate the conversation the way fans hoped. It reminded people of his skills, but it didn't completely put 50 Cent on notice. Still, even small shots have consequences in the current hip-hop climate, where social media amplifies every word. Jim Jones, on the other hand, has been steadily improving as an artist. People often overlook that he can still bring fire in a verse. His recent contributions stood out more than most, and that is important because consistency and presence matter in these types of scenarios. Fans remember his energy, and he hasn't lost the ability to make people pay attention. Jim is in a unique position because he represents both legacy and adaptability, which can make him a key player if 50 Cent decides to respond. Dave East and Mayo, while talented, didn't make as big an impact in these freestyles. Dave East's style is consistent, but it's more measured, less confrontational. That works in general, but in a scenario built around tension, potential diss tracks, it doesn't carry the same explosive energy that fans crave. Mayo's verse had flashes of confidence, especially when he indicated he wasn't afraid of 50, but overall, it wasn't enough to shift the narrative dramatically. What it does do, however, is remind fans that multiple artists are in the space and that the stakes are higher than a single freestyle. The excitement around Uncle Murda's 2025 wrap-up is also worth noting. These annual wrap-ups have become a cultural moment, and having 50 Cent involved would immediately elevate the project. Fans are used to seeing him dominate platforms and control narratives, and a strategic appearance here could make this wrap-up one of the most talked-about events in recent years. The possibility of a single verse, a full track, or even multiple shots is keeping people glued to social media and discussion boards. Social media hype is its own kind of battlefield. In the past, battles were judged by sales, radio play, or pure lyrical skill. Now, platforms like Instagram, Twitter, and TikTok amplify every line, every reaction, and every meme. 50 Cent knows this better than anyone. Even if Faboulous' verse was not devastating, the fact that fans are dissecting it, replaying it, and discussing it online means the energy is already building. In many ways, the hype alone gives this situation power, regardless of whether a major response ever drops. Another key point is history. 50 Cent's past experiences shape how he handles any perceived disrespect. Fans sometimes forget that he's survived situations most artists would avoid entirely. He has been targeted personally and professionally, and those experiences inform the precision and intensity of his responses. When someone steps into his lane, even lightly, he has the awareness and skill to respond in a way that dominates both attention and conversation. That's why this potential response has fans so invested. It's not just a freestyle, it's a strategic move in a long, ongoing chess game. The current dynamic also shows how the culture has shifted. Loyalty and respect used to be measured by shared history and street credibility. Today, visibility, social media influence, and timing are just as important. Even if Fabolous throws solid bars, if they don't go viral or make waves online, the impact is muted. 50 Cent understands this shift perfectly. He knows that the platform, the timing, and the way people perceive the moment are just as important as the lyrics themselves. This modern approach gives him an edge that didn't exist 20 years ago. Fans are also considering how this could affect the other artists involved. Jim Jones has an opportunity to stand out, showing that he can hold his own and maintain relevance alongside 50 Cent. Fabolous has the chance to remind fans of his prime skills, even if the verse wasn't as strong as his best work. For Dave East and Mayo, participating in this space keeps them in the conversation, even if they aren't leading the pack. The ripple effect of these moments extends beyond a single track. It affects brand deals, visibility, and credibility in hip-hop culture overall. The speculation about whether this will turn into a full-fledged response or just a single verse is creating tension. Fans love drama and the possibility of surprise. 50 Cent has historically been unpredictable in these situations, dropping a verse or project when people least expect it. That unpredictability keeps the culture on edge. Every social media post, interview, or small action could be the hint that something bigger is coming. This is part of the excitement. Fans are waiting for signs, reading between the lines, and anticipating the next big moment. Finally, this situation highlights how the industry has evolved. In the past, battles were often confined to the streets, radio, or mixtapes. Today, they play out in real time online, with thousands of fans reacting instantly. Social media has made every comment, line, and move amplified exponentially. For 50 Cent, this environment is an advantage because he understands how to leverage attention. For Fabolous, Jim Jones, Dave East, and Mayo, it's a double-edged sword. They get exposure, but they also face intense scrutiny. Every line matters, and every move is dissected publicly. Now let's dive into the strategies that each artist might take if this escalates. Starting with 50 Cent, he has a reputation for being strategic and calculating. He doesn't always react immediately, but when he does, it's impactful. He knows how to make every Line count, every social media post amplify the message, and every clip spark discussion. A single verse from him can dominate conversation for days, even weeks, because he controls the narrative. 50 Cent has the advantage of experience. He's been in these situations multiple times before, and he understands the psychology of both his opponents and the fans. His approach is not always about aggression. Sometimes it's subtle, timed perfectly, and designed to make his target react emotionally, which can make them look impulsive or defensive. Fabolous, on the other hand, has to decide if he wants to continue pushing or step back. He has lyrical skill, history, and the ability to throw clever lines that stick, but his recent verse didn't hit as hard as fans expected. That doesn't mean he's out, it just means he has to be strategic. He could capitalize on the hype by carefully planning his next move, whether that's another verse, a feature with another artist, or using social media to subtly amplify his side. Fabolous has always been known for his punchlines and timing, so a calculated move from him could reignite the conversation and remind fans of why he's considered one of the best in his lane. Jim Jones is in a different position. His growth as an artist gives him credibility, and he has proven he can still deliver strong verses. His advantage lies in his ability to adapt. Jim can balance legacy with relevance, showing fans that he's still a player in this space. If 50 Cent drops a verse, Jim has the opportunity to respond with energy and precision without overextending himself. His challenge will be managing perception. He needs to come off confident, not reactive. Social media will amplify every line he delivers, so he has to choose words that elevate his image while keeping the heat alive. Dave East and Mayo are in a more observational position right now. Their verses were solid but didn't dominate attention like Fabolous or Jim Jones. That doesn't mean they're irrelevant, it means they have the opportunity to be smart players rather than reactive ones. Both artists can leverage collaborations, social media engagement, and timing to make sure they stay visible without getting caught in unnecessary conflicts. In some ways, patience might be their strongest weapon. Waiting for the right moment to strike, or even simply riding the wave created by others, could benefit them strategically. Fans and social media are playing a huge role in this story. Every post, clip, and comment adds fuel to the fire. People dissect lyrics, replay verses, and debate every possible angle. That attention is double-edged. It builds hype, but it also raises expectations. One misstep, a weak line, or a poorly timed post can shift perception instantly. That's why these artists have to think carefully about timing and strategy. Every action is magnified, and the stakes are higher than ever before. The possibility of a full-length response from 50 Cent is what fans are most excited about. If he drops a verse aimed at Fabolous, Jim Jones, Dave East, or Mayo, it could dominate headlines and social media for days. People are already imagining the reactions, breakdowns, and debates. Even speculation drives attention. That anticipation is part of what makes hip-hop culture so dynamic. It's not just the music, it's the conversation surrounding it. Another factor is legacy. For artists like Fabolous and Jim Jones, every move matters because it can shape how they're remembered. A well-timed verse can remind fans of their prime, while a poorly executed response can be damaging. They have to balance staying relevant with protecting their legacy, which is not an easy task. In contrast, 50 Cent has an established legacy, which gives him more freedom to take risks. That's why fans watch his moves so closely. He can strike with authority without the same level of risk to his reputation. Looking ahead to 2026, the potential for a major showdown is huge. If 50 Cent appears on Uncle Murda's 2025 wrap-up, it could dominate discussion for weeks and possibly shape the tone for the year. Fans are hungry for content like this, and the energy surrounding it is already high. A single verse could spark responses, memes, interviews, and collaborations that extend far beyond the initial drop. The timing is perfect for a major moment, and the culture is ready for it. In terms of predictions, it's possible that 50 Cent drops one strong response, knowing that it will dominate attention but stops short of a full-blown diss track. This approach allows him to maintain control while keeping fans engaged. Fabolous could respond with another verse or use clever social media tactics to keep his name relevant. Jim Jones might capitalize on the situation with features or collaborations that remind fans of his skills. Dave East and Mayo could choose to observe, letting others carry the heat while positioning themselves strategically for future moments. Overall, this situation is about more than just bars. It's about strategy, perception, and timing. Every move is calculated, and every reaction has consequences. Fans are invested in the personality